Says the Rabbeinu. Now we're talking about breaking your physical desires, right? Self-indulgence. So he says, the ends of the pasuk we were learning was Bechol Toshiyah Yidgala. One who seeks lust is separated. In all of Toshiyah he will be revealed. Right? So the sages say whoever does a sin in private, Hashem will make it that it will be known to everybody that he does a sin in public. Meaning it'll be let out in public, everybody will know that he does that sin. But more than that, one who follows the pull of his desire, he won't only sin in the thing that he has the desire for, the initial thing. His desire will be revealed in regards to all the Torah prohibitions, because Toshiyah is the same word as yesh. The root word is yesh. So that means, B'chol Toshiyah means an entire Torah. Yesh is referring to the Torah. Ki ya'avora kulana. He will ultimately transgress all of them. Once a person falls into desire in one area, he falls into desires of everything. What's halakha? Somebody who says, this one avera, I can't hold myself. I have to say it's permitted. I have to say it's allowed because I can't fight myself in this avera. He doesn't accept one mitzvah. It's as if he denied the entire Torah. You have to fight yourself for the entire Torah. And if you let yourself fall into one sin, so you'll end up falling in all the sins. What's going to stop you from falling here? You'll fall over there also. So therefore he says that a person has to be careful. Another benefit is that you gain by breaking your physical desires. Once you become accustomed to doing from abstaining from pleasures, and when your desire asks you to partake of something criminal and sinful, you'll say to yourself, what? Even in permitted things I don't have to fulfill my desire, so how will I even partake of something forbidden? Meaning when you eat, why do you eat? When you eat for L'Shem Shamayim, let's say. You don't eat for physical desires. When you go and do the mitzvah pruruvu, you do it for spiritual reason, not for physical desires. You eat on Shabbat. You get dressed. You don't dress for to show off. You dress for it because you're doing L'Shem Shamayim. All these things. Now, if you learn to fight your desires when you do permitted things, for sure you won't end up doing forbidden things because you'll fight your desires there as well. Another great benefit is you'll reveal the uprightness of your heart and his genuine desire for teshuvah. Meaning, every person deep down in his neshama, he wants to do the right thing. He has a straightness of his heart. Right? What does the Gemara Masechet Brachot say? Yesterday we had a thunder. You heard the thunder yesterday? Yesterday, that thunder, the Gemara says, why did Hashem create thunder? To straighten the crookedness of the heart. When a person hears the thunder, he goes, "Wait, you heard that? Wow, Hashem is so powerful. Wow, Hashem is in charge of everything. In 1 second, it's like he can strike you down." And then he continues with his life, and hopefully that thought lasts with him, right? So therefore, he says that everybody has the uprightness of the heart deep inside of them. The question is, do you reveal it as much as you can or not? If you have lust and self-indulge in pleasures, so those things cover up and they muddle. They murky up the water of your straightness of your heart. And now you start being crooked here, crooked there. I don't know. Listen, it's hard for me to follow the truth. I want to lie to myself. I want to follow my desires. So therefore what? So therefore he says, once you fight your desires and you don't give in to these lusts, you'll see how straight and how holy your soul really is. You start revealing the uprightness of your heart. And that's what we call also klipa. Klipa. Certain people have klipa. What's klipa? It's a shell. It's a evil force around them that they brought onto themselves from their desires and their sins, and it blocks holiness and blocks uprightness from being around them, being in them. So therefore, you prove the guy 50 ways why he's supposed to do this mitzvah. And I know you're right, Rabbi, but listen, it's hard for me. One day, step by step. Why is he doing all that? It's klipa. It's klipa. And it's covering up the brightness of his heart. Because he's rejecting the instinct that caused him to sin in the first place. Then you'll be favored by Hashem, and Hashem will find grace in his you will find grace in Hashem's eyes. As it says, Lev nishbar nitke Elohim lo tivzeh. He says, a heart broken and humbled, Hashem will not despise. Okay, great. Finally, Yonah concludes this principle by saying, our sages said in Pirkei Avot, What do they say? Kol sheyesh lo shalosh midot halalu. Whoever has the three character traits. Metal midah she'Avram Avinu. They're from the students of Avram Avinu. They're what? Ein tova, generous eye. Ruach nemucha, humble spirit. Nefesh shefela, and a meek soul. What does it mean? Okay, so generous eye, we know. The guy likes to see other people have also. He's not jadne glaza. He's not upset that other people have. He's happy that other people have. He wants everybody to have, right? You see the guy, Mazal Tov, you bought a house. Wow, I'm so happy for you. Like honestly, really, I want everybody to buy a house. Baruch Hashem, B'ezrat Hashem. So then you have humble spirit. What's humble spirit? He doesn't have gava. He's not bodegi. He's very simple. He's very he puts his head down. And he says, "Who am I?" He doesn't tell people, "Oh, sushimiya," and who are you? You know, he talks nicely. And then finally, what's nefesh shefela? A meek soul, a very low soul. It means simple. He doesn't chase after his desires. He's a simple person. Like it says by Avram Avinu, now I know that you're a woman of beautiful appearance. What in the world? What? You didn't know your wife is beautiful till now? How could it be all these years you didn't know Sarah was beautiful? Only now when they wanted to steal you, you're going to Mitzrayim, you thought they're going to steal her, you know that she's beautiful. What is that? Sages say, he says, now I know, because until that day, he never gazed upon her to contemplate the quality of her beauty. Right? So Rabbi Yonah means, he says, it's not that Avraham Avinu never looked at Sarai Imenu. He just never gazed at her and said, you know, what's Sarai Imenu? Is she a 10 out of 10? Is she an 8 out of 10? Is she 5 out of 10? He didn't rate her. He didn't judge her like a beauty pageant. He never did that. He never had a need to. You know, he liked her actions. He liked her personality. You know, he knew what she looked like. He liked what she looked like. So he married her. That was his wife, right? It was his niece, right? So what happened? But he never sat there and compared her to other ladies. And never sat there and said, what's wrong with her? What's beautiful about her? Does she have symmetry? Is she considered a supermodel? He never thought of any of these things. Only when he went to Mitzrayim, then finally started contemplating, gazing at her, and said, "Oh, you know what? Wow, she's really beautiful. Wow, I understand why people would want to steal her." Right? And it was only when he traveled to Egypt he paid attention to her appearance, because it became a matter of concern. While it's generally prohibited for a man to gaze at a woman, a husband is allowed to gaze at his wife, take pleasure in gazing at her. That's Shulchan Aruch and Even Ezer, chapter 21. The fact that Avraham Avinu never did so was to show that his practice was to abstain even from permitted pleasures. You hear this? Avraham Avinu was on a level where he only did things because that's the right thing to do. Not because, oh, I'm allowed to, so why not? No, he never did that. He did it because it makes sense. It's the right thing to do, so he did it. It's like the famous, I said many times, the Stipler Agaon, Alav Shalom, he said that his grandkids came to him and they said, Saba, can we have this? Is this hechsher good hechsher for the candy? So he's asking them if they can have the candy because if it's kosher. He says they asked me if the candy's kosher, but they didn't ask me if they're allowed to have candy. Meaning to say, they want to know if it's allowed. The question is, it could be allowed, but the question is, should you do it? Everything that's allowed, you have to do. What, just because you want to do it and it's allowed, you should do it? Maybe it's not good for you. Maybe in your level of service to Hashem and the way you're headed, this is actually going to bring you farther from Hashem. And things that are permitted, could be they'll bring you farther from Hashem. Could be. Not necessarily is it good for you. So therefore, Avraham Avinu was not the type to do things because it was allowed. Oh, okay, so let's do it. No, it had to make sense. It had to be, is this going to bring me closer to Hashem? Where's the Hashem Shamayim in this action I'm going to do? Where is it? If it's there, I'll do it. So he says, our sages also say in Yerushalmi, it says regarding David Amelech's concubines, right? David Amelech's concubines, they were bound up in living widowhood until the day they died. What does that mean? That means that they remained married to King David, but King David abstained from relations with them. Right? It was after Absalom's rebellion, and he decided not to be with them anymore. Why? Yerushalmi says he no longer had relations with them because they have been violated by Absalom during David's absence. Right? Absalom, he decided that he's going to be the king instead of King David. The son usurped the father's throne, but David came back and he won the battle. So therefore, Avshalom died, and King David was king again. So he took back all his concubines, but he didn't have relations with them anymore. Why? Because they were violated by Avshalom. So therefore, he didn't want to divorce them because they cannot live with anybody else. Once the wife of the king becomes the wife of the king, so she cannot be with a regular commoner afterwards. So therefore, he didn't divorce them, but he didn't live with them. So there, the Torah says they were bound up in living widowhood. And every day, every day King David would command that the hair should be braided. He would provide cosmetics to adorn them. And he made them look beautiful, even though he wasn't going to be with them. He didn't going to have relations with them. Oh, he did this in order to oppress his desire and subdue it by overcoming his evil inclination. To do kapara for this, atonement for this, they did the incident with Bathsheba. So every day, King David said to his Yetzirah, you desired something forbidden to you. I swear to you that I'll make you desire something permitted to you and prevent you from having it.
He's putting himself in a bed.
Yeah. Yes. King David was on that level. Meaning Hashem told him you want to be in the Amidah. He wanted to be Elokei Avraham, Elokei Yitzchak, Elokei Yaakov, Elokei David. He wanted to be the fourth leg of the Shekhinah, of the throne, of the Kisei HaKavod. Hashem said, I have to test you. The Avod I tested, I didn't test you. So okay, so test me. And then he had the story with Bathsheba, and he passed slightly. He slightly made a mistake. So this that he wanted to be able to pass the test fully. So he again asked that the Yetzirah should put him in the test again, and he put himself in the test again in order to pass with flying colors. Because last time he didn't pass fully, right? He didn't do sin of adultery, but he did something that looks suspicious in people's eyes. So therefore, you see that what the idea is that the sages and our great tzaddikim, they always looked at how to fight their lusts and their desires. Baruch Adonai Olam.